welcome. Happy Monday. This is challenge number 5 day. So we kind of made it through the halfway mark, or we did make it through the halfway mark. So congratulations to those of you who have been following along. Hey, everyone in the chat, Rosemary and Gal, have you guys completed any challenges from last week, or is this your first day? Let me know in the chat where you're at. And if you did complete some, congrats to you. I'd love to see how your projects are going to be evolving this week as well. I'm already seeing such great designs from everyone putting all the pieces together. If you're new, we are doing a plant care app. And we're just doing that for 2 weeks. So we're really fleshing out and building up on a full prototype that you will have for your case studies. So yes, so let's see. We have Sam Peterson, we have Masayu, we have Unicorn, and we have Elisa. Hello, and Glenn and Penny. Happy Monday. So let's take a look at my screen real quick. We got the daily creative challenge site here, the landing page, behance.net/challenge/XD. The big blue button is where you're going to enroll in this challenge. And it started last Monday, the 21st, goes to the 23rd. This week, I'm going to stay live with you every day, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, break down what we're doing. And then the following 2 weeks, you'll have the replay. So 4 weeks total to get this project to a great level. So if you're just starting today, no worries at all. Totally fine. Alicia's saying, hope you enjoyed camping. I did. It was like 101 degrees, so hot, but so nice at the river. And I just relaxed and had a really wonderful time in the woods. Alexandra stuck at the logo stage. No worries. Honestly, rewatch that video and just use any icon for now. Don't even worry. Just move forward, because that's not the most important part for UX, UI designers. We're not necessarily logo designers. So just move on from that and just actually get into the interaction for that challenge. All right, so you'll receive the daily challenge every day. Today is the browsing page. You can download the Adobe XD file here, the starter file. You can watch the video as well. And then from there, you're going to create your own design and join the community chat here. This is the link for Discord. So showing you Discord really quick. Discord is a community with over 62,000 people, well, within the XD community, that you can start to network with, connect with, and most importantly, get feedback from and improve yourself and get better and better as a designer. And on the left-hand side here, where it says feedback, underneath that is the challenge channel. That's where you can upload your designs and get feedback from mentors like myself and others here. And also feel free to give each other feedback. You learn also by giving feedback and looking at other people's work. That's how I also have learned myself what is a good or what is not a good design, and lots of things to learn from each other. So that's where you'll put that. And then underneath where it says advice, I give tips and tricks, and I put links that I talk about through the live session in here for you guys to look at. So some best practices, etc. If you have questions, go ahead and ask a question in there. I'm going to stick around after this session for about 20-30 minutes to answer any questions as well. Cool. So let's look at some of your guys' work from last week and give some props to some peeps, because that's the best part, is when I get to see your guys' work. This is one from last week, Bee-Leaf. Already like very beautiful, wowing first image, hero image here. They have their onboarding screens. Let's see, what's the name? Mona Design. Props to Mona Design. We have the questionnaire questions from last week as well. These are the questionnaire screens, which was the previous challenge. And they have a video. Ooh, look at the little loading. They got their, see, actually, for those who are having challenges with the logo, just use text like she did, or that they did. Bee-Leaf, that's all they have right there. So great idea. Beautiful questions, cool interactions. Wowza. Props to you. We have Aditya, sir. We've got onboarding screens, the questionnaire. So they're just adding and adding and adding to the same case study, which is really awesome here. You're just seeing it getting really fleshed out from 5 days worth of doing the challenge. I love that you have an interaction and you show the progress of the questions. You have 3 questions. You show a progress bar for that. Awesome. And again, if you guys have missed last week, just watch the replay and you guys will already be at this stage, like these individuals. They've got their questions, super cool. Love that. Awesome job. Loving this. And yeah, Penny likes the name Bee Leaf. Great name, yeah. And so if you are thinking, okay, I want to have Elizé start to give some love to my work, what you're going to do is go into create a project. And from there, you're going to add your images, your text, what have you. And make sure in the settings over here on the right, you use the project tag XD Creative Challenge. Use that tag so I can find it and give you guys love. All right, let's get into design. Let's get into XD. All right, here is day 5 or challenge 5. The prompt is to design the plant browsing page for a plant care app. And you're going to be creating scrollable sections using scroll groups. So here we have some examples of scroll cards here, or in this one for the coffee. For all the coffee options. So we're going to be using scroll groups. If we look at mine and I play it, my prototype, we're seeing the ability for these to scroll. Okay, so let's talk about scroll groups a little bit here. Why do you guys think we use scroll groups? What is the point of scroll groups? And I'll explain, and you can think about it and put in the chat as well. But one of the things is to save space, right? Because you don't want to have such long vertical scrolling, especially when you can put them into categories like this. So horizontal scrolling is really great when you can break them out into categories, or break your sections out into categories and utilize horizontal scrolling for saving space, allowing the user to not have to scroll down and down and down to kind of figure out where they want to go or what they want to select. The point for this screen for myself, from the purpose of my app, is kind of a continuation of the onboarding screen, the questions that were asked, like how much time do you want to spend using this app? We're trying to make it more personalized for our user. So of course we want to know, well, what plants do they have? What plants do you already own, so we know what sort of advice and directions to give you? So that's the point of this screen. So when you guys are designing, you might have, some of you have seen like doing vegetable gardens, etc. Like feel free to make this more your own. Just make sure to use scroll groups in some capacity if that makes sense for your app too, right? So how do I know? Please guys put it in the chat. How would I know that this is scrollable? This is very important. This is a best practice here. How does one know that this is a scrollable screen? How can you make that clear to your users? Because we don't want to like confuse people with like when they need to scroll horizontally versus vertically. There's some tips we can use and some things to make it clear to the user that it's scrollable. What do you guys notice here on this screen? While you guys are thinking about that, I'm also going to put into the chat best practice article for you guys to look at around horizontal scrolling. So Gila says we can see half the object. And then Anudria says half of the icon is hidden. Exactly. Great job. So best practice alert, tip alert, best practice tip is you want to give a visual hint that something has a horizontal scroll, right? Otherwise, people might not know. So having it kind of run off the edge is a big way that we can showcase that. So let's start designing here. I have some of the elements already on my screen, some of the icons I'm using, the titles, and I want to now add my little plant. So I'm going to show you a couple things. I want to have a transparent little cactus inside this circle. So first I'm going to create a circle to go on top of this other circle, because I want to create a mask. So this is, I'm looking over on the right hand side when I select this object, and I can see that it says 141 width and 141 height. So I'm going to make a circle. I'm just hitting the keyboard shortcut E, making a perfect circle by holding Shift. And I'm just going to actually make this 141 by 141 here. Okay. Now I want to bring in my plant. This is something that I think you guys might want to use, especially for those of you who are not great with Photoshop. I'm not either. So even if you don't have Photoshop, this is accessible for all of you. This site, photoshop.adobe.com. This is Adobe Photoshop Express. So you don't have to have a Photoshop account, I believe. Someone can correct me though. In order to use Photoshop Express. And maybe one of the mods can look that up for me, but to make sure. But so here I actually have a image that I downloaded from Adobe stock, and it has a white background, but I want it to be transparent. So I'm going to just select, drag and drop it into here. Alexandra's asking what is a mask, and I'll actually explain it to you in just a second when we go back to the file. So good question. And I want to remove the background, and it's really simple. Over here on the left-hand side, it just says remove background. So I'm going to do that, and it's going to take the time to process it, remove the background. Now, it doesn't work for every single image. Okay, so it's a little finicky depending on what you're putting in there, what type of background, etc. So you'll have to play around with this. But now you see the background is removed, and then I can download it. So I can put in any background if I want to here. Woohoo! Or I could just leave it transparent, which I would. From there, let's go back to my Adobe file. I am going to drag and drop that transparent image in. So this is what masking is. I'm selecting and I'm putting it in here, and it's already just, it's not staying a square. It's going masking, and it's basically going inside of the circle. And so everything is within the circle. Otherwise, if I just drag and drop without the circle, it's just gonna like take over here, and it's a big old square, and it's not within a certain shape. The other way you can mask is if you want to drag in your image, you can also make a circle at this point. And if I want this background to stay within that circle, or have the cactus stay within the circle, I can select both of these objects, right click, and then put mask with shape. So now it all stays within that shape. So those are the two ways of masking. So I want that so that it just sticks inside here. And actually, this was going to be 141 by 141. And then I can kind of like, maybe if I want to, go to my background layer, go into my image, maybe scale it, make it bigger. I actually wanted to kind of not have much of the vase in it, because I want the background to almost feel like the most colorful vase part, and the plant just to be shown in here. All right, cool. So here I have my first image, and then I could just make some copies of it. And of course, I want the third one to kind of go off the screen here. Oops. And then later on, I can just go into, when I make more transparent images, I can just take them and just drag them into it. Oops. and replace those images. So it's so easy to work with images in Adobe XD. Just drag and drop to replace it. And then it still has that mask. So that's how you would be able to create transparent images and start to mask them. Now, then I'll put some text in. So text, zebra plant. And then I'm going to use my body character style here. And if you guys are confused with me using these, I covered this in the first video, so you can rewatch how I create document assets. And then from there, I'm going to put in this button. So I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm just going to make it more rounded. Put in some text. Let's say add. And for those of you who are more advanced, you may want to do what I did and make this into a component and then have two states for your component. And you'll see it in here. I have a default state and a added state. So what it looks like when it's add versus added. So that's something you might want to do as a more advanced person. We covered component states in the onboarding, for the onboarding challenge, if you guys recall. So take a look at that. Interesting thing here is if I try to select a border, I can't just select this. It's gonna do in the whole fill. So if I have this rectangle selected, I can go into my document assets, right click, and then select apply border color, and then it'll work that way. And then you might have your little icon in there, right? So I'm not going to show you how to do states again because it's covered in last week, but for those who are advanced, feel free to start to make different states for this. Okay. So here, for example, are my 3 buttons with my 3 images. And now let's create our scroll group. This is kind of the most important piece that we're focusing on for today's session. I want to make sure that all of these layers are selected. And then I want to make this a group. You have to first create and make this a group. Or I always recommend just making this a group first. So you can right click and click group. So now this is together and I can move them around together. And then from there, I'm going to enable this group or enable scroll groups for the group, groups on groups. It's over here on the right-hand side where it says transform, and there is the horizontal scroll groups. That's the one I'm going to select. And it has these little blue handlebars that's like, okay, where do you want this window to start and end? And I'm going to have it drag all the way to the end of this artboard. This is going to be so simple. Click play, and now it scrolls. And it's just easy as that. Some of you are asking about the repeat grid. You can use repeat grid here as well. You might just have to turn it on and off depending. So because I'll show you. The thing that doesn't work about scroll groups is, repeat grid. I'm just going to cover this quickly. So let's say I go back to just having, this is the one limitation with repeat grid. Let's pretend I just have this one again and I repeat this. Well, I want to change this background layer, this color. So right now, I need to find this purple color. There we go. So I want to change the purple, let's say to blue. All of them are going to change to blue. This is the one kind of challenge with repeat grid is if you change the color in one, it changes across others. The only thing you can change in repeat grid are the images and the text. And you can do some more edits when you start to make them into further components. So it's a little bit more challenging. So that's kind of why I didn't use it in that first example. Question is, how do you pick spacing between the elements? So what you can do is, let's say I'm going to ungroup this. What I would do is probably make this into a group, and I can just center align it. And then this into a group. And then this into a group. And then you can use, for me, it's for Mac users, it's Option. I can't remember exactly for Windows users if someone could put that in there into the chat. But I can see the pixels as well between my elements. So I can kind of change it that way. You can also like grab all of these, and I believe it's View and who knows this, where you can like distribute evenly. I think it's in here. But if someone can look that up, you can also do distribute evenly as well. But this is the way I do it, so I like to have more control, so I can be like, okay, I want it to be 16 pixels, and I can take a good look at that, and then I'll just arrange them that way too. Okay, so from there, you're just going to select, make another couple rows. You can go as far as you want to. You can make the artboard as long as you want and put down as many rows as you want to. But the other thing you just want to make sure of, and again, that best practice of having that little peekaboo, you want to also ensure that it has that little peekaboo vertically as well. So you can see, oh, I know I can scroll down. I can keep scrolling. So that's really the main thing that I want to convey is think about that little peekaboo and then turning on scroll groups. And that's really it. If you do have a bunch of these, a bunch more rows than I do, like this, you can also turn on scroll groups. I'm just going to delete this guy vertically. So I can grab all these guys, and I can also turn it on vertically as well and then have it stop here. So those are a couple options that you can use. You don't have to use scroll groups vertically, but you do need to use it horizontally for sure. But fun to practice, you know, why not? Little peekaboo, peekaboo. Cool, great. So let's talk about how you can share these designs. Also, feel free to leave any more questions in the chat, and I will also be hanging out in Discord in the Ask a Question channel for the next 30 minutes if you have any other questions that are coming up for you as you go through this. But let's talk about how to share your designs. You can select the artboard, the top here, File, Export, Selected. That's how you can export them as images to upload into Discord or to upload into your case study on Behance. The other thing you can do is when you want to start adding videos, you go into the play button in your prototype, clicking the little record button allows me to play this as I want to. I can stop it and save it as an MP4, and again, upload that into either Behance and or Discord. Cool. I see no more questions in the chat. You guys feeling good about it? You guys did let me know that the alignments is in the top right menu. Thanks for reminding me. I don't ever use that, guys. So thanks for, I'll play around with it later. But for all of you guys who want to use that, thanks for showing us the way. The other thing I wanted to just briefly mention here is if you want to think a little bit now about best practices for button sizing, around 60 pixels is like a medium priority. Around 42 pixels is low priority. So actually that's kind of why I've made choices for these button styling or these button sizes. This is low priority, this is medium priority. So that's how I picked my sizes. I know that sometimes that's a question that comes up for you guys. It's like, well, how big do I make these buttons? Like, what makes sense? So we think about these touch targets and these certain dimensions that work really well for the thumb. All right, guys. So that's basically all the things for challenge number 5. I hope to see you guys upload and see your beautiful designs so I can share them tomorrow in the live stream. I'll see you guys there and have a good rest of your day. Bye.